Hello, my name is Elodie Ramsey. I'm 34. And last Thanksgiving ended my whole family story. I flew home to Asheville. Cold air, wood smoke, the house glowing like a postcard. Everyone laughing like nothing had ever happened. I waited until plates were full. Then I asked, "Did the hospital send the surgery letter yet?" Dad chuckled. Valerie topped her wine. "Yeah, it came," Dad said. "But we used that money for Cole's birthday blowout." My fork slipped from my hand. They kept eating. I leaned forward, real quiet. "Then I guess you still don't know who needed that surgery." The table froze. Even the fireplace felt silent. And that was the second everything in this family cracked. Before we go on, tell me where you're watching from. And one detail about your setup right now. Couch, kitchen counter, late night porch, anything. I love knowing where our echoes of life stories find people. The laughter died fast, but the truth didn't. I didn't sleep that night. I lay on my childhood couch. The old blinds rattled in the wind. The whole house looked smaller than I remembered. My phone kept lighting the dark. I checked my banking app again, praying the number would change. It didn't. Zero. Every dollar gone. 10 years of work. 10 years of skipped vacations. 10 years of saying yes. All wiped clean by one weekend. I kept scrolling. Transfers. Receipts. Timestamps. Little digital footprints of every way I went missing for them. Cole's tuition. Cole's BMW. Cole's penthouse. Cole's endless emergencies. And the trust. The trust I built quietly. For his treatment. For his future. For his chance to walk normally at 40. I remembered the night I took his blood. His breath loud and uneven. His joints hot to the touch. Something in me knew he needed help. I didn't hesitate. I never did. Dr. Nolan's voice echoed in my head. "You've got a window, Elodie. 6 to 8 months. After that, the damage is permanent." I built everything around that window. Every bonus. Every refund. Every sacrifice. I even stopped buying groceries some weeks. Ramen was cheaper than regret. And Dad spent it all on fireworks. My hands shook thinking about Cole's stories. Crowd surfing. Champagne showers. That neon sign glowing behind him. 27 and unstoppable. Unstoppable. But only because he didn't know the truth. The sun rose slow across the living room, lighting the dust, warming the floor. But nothing inside me warmed with it. Something snapped instead. Not loud, not angry. Just final. I wasn't going to save them anymore. Not again. Not ever. And that quiet decision changed everything that came next. I woke up on the couch. Same blanket. Same stale air. But something in me felt different. The house was silent. Too silent. Like it was waiting for me to fall apart again. I stood up slow. My legs were stiff from the cold. My throat felt tight. But my mind was clear. I made coffee. The old machine hissed like it hated me. The smell filled the kitchen anyway. Warm, bitter, steady. I sat at the table and opened my laptop. The screen glowed back at me. Cold, honest, unforgiving. Every account, every transfer, every automatic payment. All tied to their comfort. All tied to my silence. I clicked cancel on the first one. My finger trembled. Not from fear. From release. Then another. And another. The list got shorter. My breath got deeper. The apartment felt bigger with every click. I used to think love meant paying until it hurt. I used to think family meant carrying whatever they dropped. I used to think loyalty meant disappearing so they could shine. But that morning, I realized something else. I had taught them how to treat me. I had written the script they kept reading from, and I could rewrite it. I walked to the bedroom, opened the closet, pulled out the box of receipts I pretended not to keep. Airline tickets, old invoices, bank statements, little paper ghosts of every time I gave up a piece of myself. I spread them on the floor. A decade of my life laid out in crooked lines. Rent I paid so Cole could focus. Car repairs I covered because Dad forgot. Hospital bills for Valerie's mother, who never learned my name. Emergency transfers for parties I never attended. I sank to the carpet and let the truth settle around me. Not grief. Not betrayal. Just exhaustion. The kind that hollows you out quietly. I picked up one receipt. The down payment on Cole's BMW. 6 years ago. I remembered how proud he looked. How Dad clapped his shoulder. How Valerie kissed his cheek. No one looked at me. Not once. I placed the receipt back down. One simple fact echoed in my head. I was the only adult in this family, and adults get to choose. By noon, I'd packed a small overnight bag. Just clothes. My charger. My passport. Nothing they could guilt me with. Nothing they could weaponize. I locked the door behind me. The click sounded final. Honest. Mine. For the first time in my life, I wasn't running away. I was walking toward myself. And they had no idea what was coming next. If you were in my shoes, what role would you choose next? Comment 1 to keep being the fixer they rely on. Comment 2 to step back and let adults carry their own weight. Echoes of Life wants to hear your truth. It was 2:03 a.m. when the pounding started. Not knocking. Pounding. Heavy and frantic like someone wanted the door to snap. I jerked awake, heart slamming inside my ribs. For a moment, I thought I was dreaming. Then Valerie's voice cut through the hallway. "Elodie, open this door right now!" Of course. They came the second their world collapsed. I walked to the door but didn't open it yet. Dad's voice boomed from outside. "We know you're awake. Don't make this worse." I inhaled slowly and unlatched the chain. The moment the door cracked open, Valerie pushed inside like she owned the place. Her perfume hit me before her words did. She slapped a stack of statements onto my coffee table. "You cut off every single one of Cole's cards. His cards." She glared at me, chest rising and falling fast. He couldn't even buy gas. Do you understand how humiliating that was? Dad shoved in behind her, face red and furious. His BMW payment bounced, repo notice on the windshield. "They're taking it in 48 hours. He stabbed a finger toward my chest. "Fix it, now." Cole stood at the doorway, hood up, hands stuffed in his pockets. He looked like he wished he were invisible. Please, my landlord posted a 10-day notice. I can't lose the penthouse." I stared at him. Really stared. This was the kid I used to make grilled cheese for. The kid who clung to me during thunderstorms. Now he couldn't survive 1 week without my account. "You'll figure it out," I said softly. Valerie's mouth dropped open. "What did you just say?" I said, my voice even and cold. "You'll figure it out. You're adults. Handle your own lives." Dad stepped closer. His voice dropped low, practiced, threatening. "You think this ends because you said no? You think we'll sit back while you burn everything we built?" A small laugh escaped me. Short, sharp. "Built what?" I asked. "Your lifestyle? Your parties? Your debt?" Cole flinched. Just slightly. Valerie crossed her arms, eyes narrowing. "You have 24 hours to reverse this. Cards, car, rent, everything. Or you'll learn exactly how far we're willing to go to protect this family." There it was. The threat. The line I'd been waiting for. I walked to the door, opened it wide. "Your 24 hours starts now. Get out." They hesitated. All 3 of them. So I repeated it, slower. "Out." They filed past me one by one. Dad muttering. Valerie trembling with rage. Cole unable to meet my eyes. The door closed behind them with a soft click. The house fell silent. A new silence. A final one. The courthouse smelled like lemon polish and cold air. I sat at the respondents' table, hands folded, pulse steady but sharp. Across from me, Dad and Valerie looked smaller than I'd ever seen. Their lawyer, Langford, kept wiping sweat from his upper lip. Cole sat behind them, hoodie up, scrolling TikTok like this was a dentist appointment. Clerk Ellison entered at exactly 9 a.m. Sharp eyes, steady posture, no patience for nonsense. Langford stood first. "Your Honor, we're here because our daughter is in crisis." Claire rose before he finished. "Your Honor, we're here because these petitioners attempted to steal my client's life through fraud and weaponized guardianship." Ellison lifted a hand. "Call your first witness." Claire didn't hesitate. The respondent calls Dr. Nolan Beckett. My breath caught. The side door opened, and Nolan walked in wearing a dark suit and carrying a red folder. He didn't look at me. He looked at the judge. Steady, professional, unshakable. He took the oath. Claire began quietly. "Doctor, what is your relationship to Cole Ramsey?" "I'm his diagnosing rheumatologist. 11 months ago, I confirmed aggressive rheumatoid arthritis. He needed biologic therapy within a year to prevent permanent disability." A gasp rippled behind me. Valerie lurched to her feet. "Objection." "Sit down," Ellison said without raising her voice. Nolan opened the red folder. Ms. Ramsey created a trust of $178,000 for Cole's treatment. The parents accessed that trust using a forged email and drained the entire amount for a social event. Cole's birthday. Cole's head snapped up. "What?" Nolan turned to him. "The treatment window closed 4 months ago. You now face lifelong deformity and opioid dependence. That trust was your only realistic chance." Dad went pale. Valerie covered her mouth. The room froze. Claire handed Ellison 2 stacks. The affidavits accusing me of mental collapse, and the recants from witnesses who admitted they were paid $500 each to sign lies. Langford tried to object again. Ellison waved him silent. She read everything. Slow. Precise. 8 full minutes of quiet except for thunder outside. Finally, she spoke. This petition is denied with prejudice. It is frivolous, malicious, and supported by coordinated perjury. All fees are assessed personally against the petitioners, and this entire record is referred to the district attorney for criminal investigation. The room erupted. Valerie started crying. Dad tried to stand but couldn't. Cole just stared at the fireworks invoice projected on the screen, the one that cost him his future. Marshals escorted my family out. Nolan stepped down, gave me one small nod, and left. I didn't move, not for a long time. Thunder shook the windows, and for the first time in a year, I breathed. Cole's first flare hit in June. By August, he couldn't grip a coffee cup. By October, he was using a walker. The pain meds escalated fast. Hydrocodone, then oxy, then fentanyl patches. At 28, he qualified for disability. $842 a month. That became his whole world. Joint pain, slow mornings, a future he couldn't outrun. Dad and Valerie didn't last much longer. Court sanctions crushed them. Attorney fees drained the rest. Their house hit foreclosure before Christmas. I didn't call. I didn't rush in. I didn't save them again. By January, I listed the Asheville house. It sold in 6 days. Cash offer. New owners from Nashville. I paid my last student loan. Closed every shared account. Moved to Charlotte. New job. New neighborhood. New number no one had. I used my middle name at work. Marie. A version of me untouched by them. On closing day, I walked through the house. Empty rooms. Quiet floors. The Blue Ridge outside the windows. None of it felt like mine. It felt like a chapter already finished. I locked the door gently. No anger. No grief. Just peace. A kind of peace I didn't know existed. The kind that feels earned, not borrowed. Driving east, windows down, mountains fading behind me. I understood something clear. I didn't punish them. I didn't try to win. I simply stepped out of a story that was never written for my survival. And I have never slept better. Not once since choosing myself. If any part of this story touched you, tap like, share it with someone trying to reclaim their life, and subscribe to Echoes of Life for more stories of quiet courage.